In this video, we're going to discuss how to construct a histogram using class boundaries and class midpoints. So I have data here that represents the age of 50 children that were randomly sampled that are enrolled in daycare or after school care. Okay, so we're trying to get an understanding of the distribution of ages of children who are enrolled in daycare and after school care. All right, so a histogram, let's go ahead and I'll start drawing it down here. It's a graph, so I will have a y-axis and an x-axis. On the y-axis, I will have the frequency. Okay, so I'll have the frequency here. This is a frequency histogram. If I have the frequency over here to the on the y-axis, then this will be called a frequency histogram. All right, so I want to go ahead and make tick marks for the y-axis for these frequencies. So if we look, we are ranging from 5 to 14. So I'll go ahead and do it in counting fives. So 5, 10, 15. Okay, 5, 10, 15. All right. And then down here on the x-axis will either be the class boundaries or the class midpoints. I'm going to go ahead and use class boundaries for the first histogram, and the next histogram I draw, I'll do midpoints. So we should always label what this is. So this is actually, I shouldn't really label it class boundaries. We're going to use the class boundaries, but I shouldn't really label the x-axis that. Rather, I should label the x-axis what it is, which is the age of children in daycare / after school care. Okay. All right. So if I'm going to use the boundaries, I'm going to label the boundaries. So let's see. Start at 0.5. So I'll start here at 0.5, and I'll go to 2.5. Then after that, I believe it is 4.5. Okay. So 4.5. Then 6.5, then 8.5, then 10.5. So I'm labeling all the boundaries, okay? That's what makes this graph. I'm using the boundaries, class boundaries. Okay, so let's see. For the class that's between 5 and 2.5, the frequency is 14. So I'll draw a bar that goes up to 14. Okay, like that. And for the next class that's between 2.5 and 4.5, the frequency is 12. So the bars will touch, right? The difference between a bar graph and a frequency, the difference between a bar graph and a histogram is that the bars touch. Right? In a bar graph, the bars don't touch, but in a histogram, the bars do touch. It's very important that the bars do touch. And the reason for this is because the age of children, technically age is a continuous measurement, right? So, technically I'm encompassing all children that are between half a year old and 2.5 years old, right? All those children are fitting into this bar, right? And so, these are all the children that are less than 2.5 years old. These are all the children that are more. It's very important that these bars are consecutive and touching right on top of each other. Okay. Next, between 4.5 and 6.5, let's see, the frequency there was 10. All right, so that'll look like this. And then for the next bar, the frequency is 9. And for the last bar, the frequency is 5. A good habit when you're drawing histograms is to go ahead and label the number on top of your the frequency on top of the bar. So 14, 12, 10, 9, and 5. Right? So now if we were to do, so this is the frequency histogram using class boundaries. Right, so I've marked the boundary of each of the bars and labeled that boundary, the age. We could do this exact same graph using class midpoints. It's very similar. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and use my eraser. If I were to erase the boundaries, so everything else is going to stay exactly the same, except I'm not going to label the boundaries of the bar. Now I'm going to label instead the midpoint of the bar. Okay, so right here in the center, I'm going to label these midpoints of the bar. And so let's see, the first midpoint was 1.5. So this would have been, you'd label that 1.5. Next one was 2.5, I believe. No, it was 3.5. 3.5. Then 5.5, 7.5, and 9.5. Okay, and so bar graph is exactly this. I mean, the histogram is exactly the same. Just now, the way you've labeled your x-axis is now labeling using midpoints. So that's just, you know, another way of doing the exact same. Exact same histogram, you just label the x-axis differently, either using boundaries or midpoints. Now it's just need to be careful that when you use boundaries, you clearly have marked the boundary of the bar, and when you use midpoint, you need to clearly mark the midpoint of the bar.